Good afternoon and welcome to the FundMatch webinar for the state of Arizona. It's a big thank you to Heather at the Arizona Department of Agriculture for her support and assistance. And today's presentation will be focused on the FundMatch program, which is a funding program here at WSATA. You can hold your questions till the end, put them in the chat, and we can discuss them after if you have any. Today's webinar will be about 20 to 25 minutes. And with that, let's begin. Our agenda today includes how WSATA can help members, what is FundMatch, program administration, company and product eligibility, funding amounts, the eligible expenses allowable under ATP and MAP, U.S. origin statement example slides, and the claims process, important dates for the FundMatch program, and some of our new updates we've just implemented, how to create a WSATA account, resources, and any of your questions. WSATA is an independent nonprofit trade association, and we have over 40 years of exporting focus. We have a global network of resources and we partner and advocate with the Foreign Agricultural Service and the United States Department of Agriculture. Our members outside of Arizona include the western states of Alaska, California, Colorado, Guam, Hawaii, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, the Northern Mariana Islands, New Mexico, Oregon, Utah, Washington, and Wyoming. Now, FundMatch helps eligible Western U.S. agribusinesses, suppliers, and companies remain competitive in international and the U.S. domestic market by providing 50% reimbursement for eligible marketing activities. And how our funding works is WSATA administers federal funding from the Market Access Program, MAP, and the Agricultural Trade Promotion, ATP. And WSATA complies with the MAP and funding sources by collecting the documentation needed for application and claims. And this is required by the FAS regulations. So for your company to be eligible to apply for FundMatch, you must be headquartered in the WSATA region. You must be a small company based upon your NAICS code. It kind of equals what the number of employees are in your industry. It's generally below 500 or below 1,000. You must be operating for at least 12 months and legally licensed in your state. Now, your product eligibility, your products must be 50% U.S. grown ingredients. You must retain the brand ownership. And for your international labels, you must have a U.S. origin statement present on them. Let's talk about funding amounts. So the first year that you're an applicant with FundMatch, your funding amounts can be from $2,500 to $25,000. And if you're a more experienced exporter, the first year can be $2,500 to $50,000. And if you're an applicant with FundMatch over a year, it can be from $2,500 to $300,000, depending on what your marketing budgets are. The FundMatch application process has changed. Last Friday, on September 1st, FundMatch introduced the new online application process. Applications opened for 2024. The new process is online and automated without all the paperwork and back and forth of previous years. So you will also be able to apply for the remainder of 2023 with this new process as well. I always recommend to get your application in and get it approved before the activity occurs. If that doesn't happen, then your funding will not be available. And if you're already contracted with FundMatch, sign into your WSADA account and click on the new FundMatch program tile and select the 2024 year. You can begin the online process, and it's really streamlined and it goes a little bit quicker than it did before. So when you start that application process, I want you to be aware that there are fees associated with the program. There's a $250 application fee, and there's also a 6% fee on your funding. So when you do your application and submit it, it goes to our office for review. The manager sets up, reviews the application for accuracy, and then you'll receive a notification of acceptance by email. And it's also registered out on your dashboard as well. At that point, you'll receive a contract and an invoice with your 6% funding fee. So for example, if you use minimum funding, which is expenses of $5,000, at 50% is $2,500 in funding. And the 6% on that is $150. So to participate in the FundMatch program for minimum funding each year, it's $400. And I just want to keep that in mind for all of you. And then after you've signed your contract, it's time to conduct your activities. And for example, if you're preparing for your domestic show next year for Expo West, you should probably have your application kind of done and wrapped up in January, so it's all ready to go. And once you've conducted your activity, you'll be able to submit your claim online. I'm going to review some of the things that are covered, both in the international market and in the domestic market. The next couple slides apply to the international market. Advertising and printed TV, radio, moving ads, and billboards, those types of campaigns are eligible, as well as social media campaigns and e-newsletters. Website production, that it's country focused, in-store demonstrations, in-store displays that are temporary, like at a grocery store chain, international trade seminars, international trade shows, and these include the big shows like Cold Food, Anuga, Cial Paris. It includes your booth fees, your airfare, your lodging, your travel, your meals and incidentals. It also includes shipping to and from the shows and shipping of your samples. It also covers expenses that aren't covered by an outbound trade mission as well. For instance, if you go on an outbound trade mission, they may cover everything except airfare, and we would be able to pick up airfare. The label and packaging modifications that you make to your products when you go into other country markets, those changes are eligible, as well as uniforms and wages for temporary labor. And that would include translation as well. Now, domestically, if you have an interest in the domestic trade shows, which are a great way to kind of get some really good contacts and brokers and buyers that walk those shows, you must exhibit at the show, and it must be a show off the pre-approved domestic trade show list. And it's a pretty comprehensive list and will cover probably most of the shows that you would select. It covers your booth fee, your freight and shipping to and from the show, your rentals, your GES and Freeman costs. If you have refrigeration or that type of rental, that is eligible. Uniforms that promote your company brand, wages for temporary labor or brand ambassadors that you may have in your booth. POS materials and giveaways as well. So those are the basics that are covered. It's in the guide. You can look through pages 34 to 78, and that covers both international and domestic shows and activities as well. Domestic trade shows on the approved list are the only activities that are covered in the US market. But all those other examples that we spoke of are covered for your international markets. Now we're going to talk about the origin statement and how important it is to use it in your activities internationally. It is required. It's an FAS regulation. And on page 15 of our guide, there's a US origin statement page. And those check boxes, those green check boxes, are the acceptable origin statements. Product of the USA, product of America, or grown in the USA, or grown in America, or product of California, grown in Oregon, made in Montana, product of Arizona. Those, if you use your state, it must be completely spelled out. It cannot be abbreviated. And like I say, it is the cornerstone of our program. And so it's very important that the origin statement is carried through, not just on your packaging, it has to be within your activity as well, whether you do demos, displays, trade shows. And on this next slide is kind of a, overblown example a little bit of using the origin statement, but it shows how to present those origin statements by banner or maybe on the back panel of your booth and definitely on your kiosk. And when you would take a photo, for example, of this booth here, you would capture all of the origin statement and the brand representation as well. We've been making some adjustments to our claims processes and timelines and trying to speed those up. And so the result of that is when you return from your show, let's say Expo West, and you start compiling your documents, you have 60 days from the last day of the show to submit that claim. And it'll be online now, which is much easier than before. Online claims go into production on October 1st. And WSATA will receive your claim and review it within 30 days of the submission. If the claim is incomplete or we need some additional information, we'll request that from you, and you'll have 15 days to provide the requested documentation. If the claim is complete, we simply process it and forward it for payment, and it takes about 14 days to get your reimbursement back. And that process will probably speed up as well because next year sometime they'll go to ACH payments and it'll be same day probably. So yeah, lots of changes we're very excited about. These are some of the important dates to be aware of in the FundMatch program. On August 1st, FundMatch applications open for the coming year of funding. Now, this year it was a little bit different just because we went to the online process and it was September 1, but we're back to August 1 now because we really had a lot of people like waiting to get their applications in. The program year for FundMatch is a calendar year, and claims are reimbursed and activities must be completed during the calendar year to be eligible. And the claims must be submitted within 60 days of the activity. February 28th is always a big day at our office. It's the last day to submit claims for the previous program year. So February 28, 2024, everything from 2023 needs to be in our office. And then finally, April 1st is the FundMatch year-end survey. It is due, and it is a requirement in your participation in FundMatch. So you'll be notified to get that taken care of. Now, if you're not already a WSATA participant, you may create your WSATA account by going to our website at www.wasada.org. On the right-hand side, it has a sign up click, and you can begin by answering questions about the U.S. origin of your products. And you'll identify your products and choose your regional trade focus, and then enter the contact details for you and your company. It takes about 24 hours. Your account goes through a vetting process before we confirm you, and you'll receive an email that confirms your status. And at that point, you'll be able to sign on and look at our website. Our website has a lot of opportunities in it. There's the Global Connect area of WSADA and the FundMatch area. So you're not limited in that regard. And there's a lot to see out there under our events. And we offer outbound missions, inbound missions. We have pavilions at the larger shows. So it's definitely a great website to get your information regarding export readiness or anything else that you would like to know. Okay, the updates for online claim submission. It'll be fully online in the fall, and participants will be able to submit claims via the WSADA portal or your WSADA account on October 1st. I have some upcoming online claim trainings. One is September 2nd, next Tuesday. And then a couple weeks after that, September 26th. And so feel free to register today if you're already with FundMatch and get yourself kind of all set up and ready for your online claim submission. Until October 1st of 2023, we'll continue to accept claims by email in a PDF document at fundmatch@wasada.org. And resources. Feel free to access the FundMatch guide. It's online at our website, as well as example claims. When you're putting a claim together, you can click on those example claims and it'll guide you through that. You may also make liaison consults, and that's with me. And I help you through the application and claims process and kind of ongoing in your WSADA journey. And webinars. We have a whole library of webinars now that is focused on all the different activities that are eligible in FundMatch. They have the webinars with the states like we're doing today. So it's very resourceful, as that should be, and feel free to access those. And also feel free to contact me directly if you need any assistance.